Hey guys, let's talk Pinterest. So I recently did a Q&A video and I had a lot of people asking me about Pinterest and how to do this on Pinterest and how to do that on Pinterest. And I totally understand because Pinterest is like a whole thing unto itself. And not just is it, you know, complex, it's like a whole different thing you have to learn, but Pinterest has also changed a lot. So the first thing I want to say before we get into anything else is that Pinterest has changed so much so quickly that if you are looking up any information, if you are researching Pinterest, if you're looking into, you know, how to do Pinterest, how many pins, Pinterest strategy, if anything is not super recent, it's probably not relevant. I personally would say if something's before 2021, it's not super relevant. They made a ton of changes in 2020, and so if something's like latter half of 2020, it's probably okay. But if it says 2021, it's definitely okay. That's when most of the things have rolled out, is this year. And so we've, you know, finally been trying to catch up. So if you are, you know, looking up anything about Pinterest, trying to figure out how to do Pinterest, make sure everything you read is accurate and recent. The second thing I wanted to tell you about Pinterest is that it takes a while to get started. Pinterest themselves as a company has come out and said that it typically takes between 3 to 6 months of consistent pinning for Pinterest to realize that you're serious and kind of like really start pushing out your content. By consistent pinning, I don't mean like pinning a bajillion times a day, but I do mean that you are pinning, you know, on a consistent basis. So if you decide you're gonna do once a day, that you're doing once a day. If you decide you're gonna do twice a week, then you do twice a week. Whatever it is you decide, that is what you're doing. So if you know, are in 1 month of Pinterest and you're like, this isn't helping anything, you gotta stick with it longer than that. And I know that stinks because, you know, it feels like the internet should be instant results, but it's not. So you really need to wait and let it build up, because once Pinterest starts rolling and that ball starts going down the hill, it's gonna make a difference. So you gotta have faith in it, you gotta believe in it, and you gotta try it for a significant amount of time for it to work for you. All of that being said, in this video specifically, we're talking about my personal Pinterest strategy currently. I have had a lot of people ask me for this video for what I'm doing in Pinterest, what I'm doing in Pinterest, what I'm doing in Pinterest, what I'm doing in Pinterest. And I will tell you first off that I am not a Pinterest expert on any means. I've just been using Pinterest forever, and so I am not an expert. I do, you know, do research, I do use it, but I want to put that out there because just because I'm doing it does not necessarily mean it's actually the best thing to do. It just means that's what I'm currently doing. And so I'm still adjusting and trying, you know, after all the changes have been made and rolled through, I'm still kind of trying to figure out what I want to do in the future, but this is what I'm currently doing. So with Pinterest, my current Pinterest strategy is to have one new pin each day. Now with this, I schedule them out so I don't like go on and do a pin every day, but I do, you know, I batch them, and so I schedule them out all at once so that I, you know, have about 2 weeks worth, because I schedule them on Pinterest, and on Pinterest you can schedule them out for 2 weeks at a time. So I'll go on and I'll do, you know, 2 weeks worth, and then I will leave it there. With these, I do something really horrible that you probably shouldn't do, and that is I use just like pictures of my products sometimes, product photography pictures, and then I also use videos, and I also use actual pins I make on Canva that have words, they have pictures, and all of that kind of stuff, which is much better to do. So it's a variety of them. It just kind of depends on when I'm doing them and how I'm doing them and how many pictures I have and what I'm trying to promote, and all of those things kind of go into which one it is. But I have been doing a lot of just pictures, and I'm trying to move more into like pins that I create that have pictures and they have words and all of that kind of stuff. And just really trying to make those look nice and get rolled out. So I pin them to the most relevant board because that's what Pinterest has said to do. And I try to do about one a day. Sometimes I have more than that if I just have a lot of things I want to get pinned, and sometimes I have less than that. It just kind of depends on, you know, what's going on and what I've decided I want to pin. After that, I am currently repinning via Tailwind. So Tailwind used to be like a huge deal. I've heard more and more people say that they are getting off of Tailwind. I paid for a year, and so I still have a few more months until that year is up. And so I'm kind of like on that fence of like, should I keep it? Should I get rid of it? I haven't decided yet. I don't know. And so I'll give you an update if I decide to get rid of Tailwind, because I might. But what Tailwind is currently doing, if you're not familiar, Tailwind is a software that will repin things. So once you've pinned it, you can put it into Tailwind, and then you can say pin it to this board on this day, and it'll do that automatically. So it's like a scheduling app. This is really, really handy because then you don't have to be on there, you know, scheduling things out. And then also that you can spread things out, so you can have, you know, a couple pins over the course of a day. You can have one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the evening, and you don't have to personally do it, and it saves so much time. With Tailwind, I used to pin tons. I had like 30 pins a day. Currently, I have declined that all the way down to like 5 to 10 pins per day, which still might be too many, but that's where we currently are. So I'm still doing research, trying to figure out like what's the best thing to do, what's the best ratio, but that's what I'm currently at. And with that, what I do is, like I mentioned, every 2 weeks I go through and I will schedule out, you know, everything. And then once I hit my, we'll talk about this later, but about once a month, I'll go onto Tailwind and I will I'll schedule in anything that has been posted basically in the last month, as well as anything else that's relevant that I think is like good enough quality to get pinned again. Because I do still have pins from like 3 and 4 years ago that are doing really well, and so those are things I'm okay with repinning. I do pin them to multiple boards on my page, anything that is relevant like SEO wise. So if like I have a fall rhythm activity, it's gonna go under rhythm activities, and it's also gonna go in a board called like fall or like seasonal resources. So those are two different things because we're looking for SEO. I have lots of boards. And then with that, I am currently still pinning to group boards. Now, group boards are on their way out. So if you currently do not have group boards, don't worry about it. Don't give it a second thought. Don't worry about it. Don't give it a second thought. Just spend your time somewhere else. But because I already have group boards and it only takes me an extra like second in Tailwind to schedule things to my group boards, I am currently still repinning to said group boards. So what I'm doing is that pin, the first time it goes onto the most relevant board. Then after that, I put it into Tailwind and I schedule it to any other boards it can fit on. And I put an interval usually of like 2 weeks. So if it was pinned in the first week of October, the next time it's gonna show up anywhere is the 3rd week of October. This is really intentional. I want it to be long enough that it is not anywhere near it, so that it's, you know, kind of treats it more as like a new pin versus it looking at it as like, oh, it's just repinning. I don't want to just repin the same thing over and over and over. I want to make sure that it is scheduled out so that it is over a long period of time. In addition to that, we are doing idea pins, story pins. I can't even remember which one's the real name, because they changed the name as like the day after I did the video, because of course they did. But I have a whole tutorial about story pin, idea pin, whatever they are called. I will link it down below, and these are definitely where the money's at right now. So basically this is Pinterest's answer to TikTok and Instagram. And so there's short form videos that people can look through that do not link other places. I think there is a link version now, but I do not currently have the link capability. So they're still working on it. It's a new thing. But the main thing with these is that they do a really good job of growing your audience because it's the new thing. And so I highly recommend them. So with these, they are, honestly, a lot of times they are my reels from Instagram downloaded and put onto Pinterest. Also, sometimes I will do, you know, specific things for Pinterest, and so I'll do, you know, short little videos. I'll do videos and pictures of products or lessons or activities, things that go along with blog posts, all of that kind of stuff. Oh, I'm also pinning from blog posts. Did I mention that? I don't remember. Anytime I post a blog post, it has usually 3 pinnable pictures in it, and so those go up as well every other Thursday. Anyway, idea pins go out. I'm shooting for like 3 a week. I would love to do more than that, but more than that sounds really stressful because idea pins you cannot schedule out ahead, so you actually have to get on the app and do them in real time. And because of that, I am doing significantly less of them than the other things because, you know, your girl's got a lot of stuff to do. So I'm shooting for about 3 idea pins a week. If I don't hit it, it's not the end of the world. I'm not gonna cry about it. It's not, you know, it's not a huge deal, but that's kind of where I'm shooting for. And if I don't hit it, it's fine. If I have more than that, great. It's just, you know, it's my target, and we're gonna try to get as close as we can to the middle of the target, but you know, we're gonna do our best. So that's kind of my main Pinterest strategy at the moment, is 1 new pin a day, 5 to 10 repins on intervals, so they're not, you know, pin, back, and then using the idea pins about 3-ish times a week. And this has been working pretty well for me since I started, honestly, since I started using the idea pins. My Pinterest has grown a lot over the last few months, and I can tell when I have been doing more idea pins and more new pins and more video pins, because my stats will go up anytime I do, you know, a significant amount of video pins in a month or a significant amount of idea pins. And if I have a little bit less, I can tell because the stats will go down a little bit. But overall, like, my account has definitely grown a lot over the past few months, and I can specifically credit it to idea pins and also probably video pins, because I have been doing a lot of video pins. We like video pins. So that's my Pinterest strategy that's my Pinterest strategy as far as what is going up. Now, as far as what I am personally doing, I've had for pretty much forever, Pinterest has been one of those things where I'm like, oh yeah, I need to do Pinterest, and it's been like an afterthought. And I finally have hopefully fix that. I overhauled my whole schedule, and as many of you know, if you are over on Instagram, we do the TPT morning check-in because I work on my TPT store every morning before work. So if you also do that, then you can come join me. All you gotta do is post on stories and anything you're working on, and use the hashtag TPT morning check-in and tag me in it so that I see it, and then I'll reshare it to my stories as well. And so every morning I work on my TPT store, and typically I would do 4 days out of the week working on my project, whatever my project is for the month. And then on Thursdays I do emails. That has now changed. And so now I have, my projects are only getting like 9 days. So it's like 3 days the first 3 weeks. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm still doing emails on Thursdays, and then on Fridays I have other things to do. And so part of those is some Fridays I have scheduled out to do Pinterest specifically, so to make pins and to post them. This has been so helpful because I'm actually like putting thought into it and actually planning it out, and it has been so good, I have to say, because, you know, again, if I'm actually putting thought into it and planning it out, then I'm actually able to like think, hey, what's the best thing to pin this month? What should I make? I'm actually able to like make my own pins instead of, you know, just slapping up some pictures, because that's what I have available. And so this has been really, really helpful to like actually just have 45 minutes a month, you know, dedicated to this. Well, I guess it's an hour and a half because I do that twice a month. So I do it the second Friday, and then at the end of the month, the last week, I have 1 day is dedicated to Pinterest as well. Then there's 1 day dedicated to Tailwind, and so on that Tailwind day, I will go through and I will fill up and schedule out all my repins that are relevant. So anything that is like coming out that month. So for example, for October, anything that is pumpkins, anything that is Halloween, any of those things are getting repinned, as well as starting to repin things for November, December. So starting to repin things that I want to sell in those months. So if I have, like, I have a turkey activity, that's a turkey song that's really cute, so I'll repin stuff for that starting in October so that it's getting ready for November. I will also start repinning, you know, like Christmas stuff so that it's getting ready and it's getting, you know, up there, and I have like some Hanukkah resources and stuff like that. So getting all of that kind of stuff started, and so that is what I will be repinning in October. So having those 3 times, so that's what, hour and a half, so 2 hours and 15 minutes is about how much I spent on Pinterest for the month. And so I have 2 days where I make pins, and then 1 day where I am doing Tailwind, scheduling them out. And I cannot tell you how much of a difference this has made personally. Like, in my head. I haven't been doing it long enough to have like data on it yet, but just like in my brain, it has made life so much better because I actually have time to sit down and think like, okay, what do I need to be pinning? What should I make? I actually make the pins, you know, and just, it's a lot more intentional now than it used to be. And I think that the way Pinterest is going, you definitely want to be more intentional as it is going, because it's definitely getting more into like the quickly consumable, staying on the app for a long time versus how it used to be more like really favoring things that had been pinned and pinned and pinned over and over and over. So I hope that was helpful. Again, not a Pinterest expert. Take everything I say with a grain of salt because I'm doing a mixture of what I have researched to find and also what I have found that has worked. And so that doesn't necessarily mean that's the best thing to do, but that's, you know, what I'm doing, because as a business owner, you just gotta make your best decisions, follow your gut and go for it. So I hope that was helpful and answers a few questions. I will link our Pinterest playlist down below in case you want more information about like how to make pins, how to make video pins, how to use Pinterest, what Pinterest is, idea pins, all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, definitely check that out. Also, I want to give 2 shout outs. If you're looking to get more into Pinterest, on Instagram, I would look up, on Instagram, I would look up Emily Vales. So it's I'll link her down below. It's emily.vales, and she is actually a Pinterest strategist for TPT sellers. So it's like very much what, you know, what we're into. And she has tons and tons of Pinterest tips. She talks Pinterest all the time and it is so helpful. So definitely go and check her out. And then the other person to check out is Terrific Selling Tactics. That's Alexandra. And she is great. She's been on my podcast before. I've been on her podcast before, and she's, you know, she's great and she's really good at Pinterest. She also has a Pinterest course. So if you are interested in like learning a lot more, you can go check her out. She's really into Pinterest and talks a lot about Pinterest as well. So check those 2 out if you're looking more into Pinterest and want to learn more about Pinterest. They're both really, really great to follow. So check them out and I will see you guys next time. Leave your Pinterest questions down below, and that's all I got for today. So bye.